Just because everyone has been to school, it doesn't mean that everyone understands the role of a teacher. I own a car and I drive the car, but I don't tell a mechanic how to fix my car. Hello and welcome back to Talking Teens Official. I'm Nural and thank you for joining me again and for your listening ears. I really appreciate it. I'm a little bit excited about this episode. This is going to be a good one because today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm opening a door that's usually closed, the staff room door. The biggest misconception is that all teachers talk about is school and students and work. That is not the case at all. I remember when my kids were younger, and if I was meeting some of my teacher friends outside of work, they would always ask me what we do and what we talk about. So I told them, we talk about maths all night. We sit in the classroom after everyone has left and we talk maths. That's what we do. They believed me for a little while anyway. So if we're not sitting around talking about maths or English or science all day, what are teachers really talking about? The reality is a lot more complex and honestly, it's a lot more human. The first thing you need to know is that we're not just sitting around drinking coffee and talking for hours in the staff room. The most common theme in any staff room, the most talked about conversation is, wait for it, how tired we are, how we are always rushing and running to get things done, and how there is never enough time. The bell rings and is always a frantic dash to prepare for the next class. It's not a leisurely break. We don't stroll, we run. The second reality is that the staff room is actually a place for emotional regulation for the teachers. A lot of teachers, even though our job expects us to be slightly extroverted, a lot of us are actually introverts. So when we go home, we don't want to talk. We don't want to see people. We don't want to mix with anyone. We've actually had enough of that during the day and we don't need any more of it. So sometimes the staff room is just a nice, quiet place. We're sitting in silence. We're sipping our coffee. We're decompressing from the lesson we just taught and we're trying to gather our thoughts for the next one. Other times, a teacher will come in who's just had a really rough lesson beforehand and they're a little bit annoyed. They're a little bit peeved. They often need a safe space to vent for a minute before they have to put their game face back on and get back out there and do it all again. And finally, when we do talk, it's actually a mix of the personal and the professional. We're talking about our plans for the weekend or our holidays or things like that, but that conversation almost always bleeds into what really dominates our weekends. What do I have to mark? But beyond the day-to-day grind, there are deeper conversations and worries that we carry into the staff room. So do we talk about students? Yeah, we do, sometimes. It's almost never in the way you might think though. It's always informal and is often in passing, and it comes from a place of trying to solve a puzzle. The focus is usually on a specific student's behaviour, what they're doing or what they're not doing. A teacher might say, I'm really struggling with so-and-so in my class. Has anyone taught this kid before? Does anyone know what works for him? Can you give me any tips? It's always an informal, collaborative effort to find the best approach for a child, not just a complaints session. And I actually think that most parents would be shocked to hear just how often teachers think about their students, what they can do for them, and how they can help them. We do worry for our students for a whole range of reasons. We can worry around welfare from the point of view from the home life perspective if we know that there's some stuff going on, all the way to how they are coping with the demands and stress of exams and workload in the final years. But we also worry about the system we're working in. A constant source of stress for teachers is the pace of the curriculum. We'll be in the staff room almost every week or at the end of every meeting, and you will hear us saying, how are we possibly going to get through all this content by the end of term? And we worry because we know with absolute certainty that the pace is too fast for some of our kids. So, as I'm pulling back the curtain on the staff room, there's one thing that a lot of teachers wish parents knew, and it's pretty simple. So, I'm going to tell you. We just need you to support us, to have our backs, to see us as being on the same team. It is so difficult for teachers when all we hear is that tired old line. You only work from 9 to 3 and you get all those holidays. Give it a break. That may have been the case 50 or 60 years ago, but it is definitely not the case now. And the teacher bashing on social media can be absolutely horrendous. And I'm not going to name any of the accounts, but there's quite a few out there that are really vocal against how teachers are actually dealing with their child that may have a specific need. We need people to remember that teachers are people too. They are, and we are, mothers, fathers, wives, husbands, brothers, sisters, etc. Just because everyone has been to school, it doesn't mean that everyone understands the role of a teacher or how a school works. I always say, I own a car and I drive the car, but I don't tell a mechanic how to fix my car. Your support, your trust, and seeing us as allies in this journey is the most powerful thing you can give us. And while the world outside has changed, it's fascinating to think about how the core culture inside a staff room has. In many ways, it's actually stayed the same. Over my 20 years, I've seen that there are timeless personalities in the staff room, or teacher types, that you'll always find. You've always got the wise veteran who has seen every curriculum change and doesn't want to borrow the next one. You've got the young, passionate idealist who just wants to get in there, be everyone's friend, and just do the best job they can. They're great because they always come in with fresh new ideas. You'll find the ones who always have a funny story and the ones who always need to vent. And crucially, you've always had the mentors, the experienced teachers who have had the time to help and support the younger ones. But what I want to say is, that is the one thing that has changed a little over the years. While that supportive instinct is still there, even those veteran mentor type teachers are so overloaded now that their capacity to guide the next generation of teachers is stretched thinner than ever before. And this leads me to a final thought on what it means to actually be a teacher today. I was involved in and I saw a conversation recently which really made me pause. And it was the difference between the words teacher and educator. The word teacher comes from an old word meaning to show, to instruct. But educator comes from a Latin word meaning to lead forth, to draw out what's already within. They are two very different ideas. And the reality of my job and a teacher's job is that we actually have to be both. There are times when we educate, and that's the part that most teachers love, drawing out a student's curiosity and helping them connect ideas. But there are also times when we have to teach. That's skill and drill. Sit down, do this test. You've got 30 minutes, let's go. Right now, at this point in our academic year, most teachers who are teaching senior students are teaching them how to play the game. We are teaching them, we're not educating them. We're teaching them how to play the game to get the best marks on their final exams. And the truth is that teachers couldn't do the teaching part well if they didn't do the educating part first. And the staff room is where teachers wrestle with that duality every single day. But the biggest thing that we talk about, the one that we wish parents truly understood, actually goes much deeper than the day-to-day. It's about the foundation our kids and our students are actually built on. The educational space, for all its flaws and its strengths, has been trying for years to get kids to find themselves, to become the best version of themselves. That's what we do. We give them the tools, we teach them the skills, we encourage their curiosity. But so often, we as teachers come up against a brick wall. And that brick wall is the limiting beliefs in our kids. Beliefs that have often been anchored in place by the parenting environment they were brought up in. We can only do so much inside the classroom. We can teach a child maths, but we can't easily teach them to believe they're capable of learning maths if they've been told at home their whole lives that you're just not a numbers person. We can encourage a student to be creative, but it's a huge challenge if their home environment punishes mistakes. And then they move on, and then they might go to university. University, like high school, is just the next safe stop for our young people to continue to explore who they are. They are not always meant to be set up for life by their education. They are meant to discover, wait for it, that they must continually learn and be curious and have the tools and the skills to carry that out. That's what we're doing. We as teachers do our best to give them the tools to do this. But the last thing that we really wish parents knew, and I feel like I've said that a lot this episode, is that you are the ones who build that foundation. The language you use, the mindset you model, and the approach you take to their growth is the most powerful curriculum of all. The work we do at school can only ever be built upon the foundation that is laid at home. I'll say that again. The work we do at school can only ever be built upon the foundation that is laid at home. So the staff room isn't a mysterious place where we plot or complain. It's a deeply human space. It's a place of exhaustion and frantic energy, but also of quiet decompression and fierce collaboration. The biggest secret of the staff room is just how much teachers carry for their students. So the next time you think of your child's teachers, I hope you'll picture them not just as educators, but as people doing their best in an extremely demanding system. And we would be so much stronger if you were on our team. And this, again, makes me think of a Sir Ken Robinson belief. That is, great teaching is an art form. It's not a mechanical process. The conversations we have in the staff room, the worries, the collaborations, the moments of frustrations, are the echoes of that creative process. They happen because the creative process is there, and that's what we're trying to do. They are the sound of a passionate bunch of professionals engaging with a messy, unpredictable, and wonderful reality of helping young humans grow. Next time on Talking Teens, we're tackling some of the toughest questions and most common complaints parents have about schools, and I'll be giving my honest teacher's rebuttal and opinion. From why is there so much homework to, and this is one I hear as a teacher, why don't you give so much homework? To, why wasn't I told about this sooner? I never got the email. Oh, sorry, you did. You just didn't read it. We're diving into the parent gripes that can cause real friction. It's going to be a really candid one, so I don't want you to miss it. Make sure you have subscribed so you get the notification. Make sure you are following and subscribing on all social media channels for Talking Teens Official. And if you find real value in what we're doing here, please consider buying me a coffee. The QR code is actually in the comments or the show notes or wherever I can figure out where to put it. And you can donate any amount you choose. And every little bit helps fuel my late night coffee supply while I'm actually editing these episodes. And trust me, there's a lot of late nights that go on. The last thing is, don't forget to join my school community, Talking Teens Official. We're actually having some really solid conversations in there, and there's a lot of parents in there who are getting extra value from listening to my podcast to actually having a direct connection, a direct tap or a direct line to me and other parents in this community. Until then, remember that focus, connection over correction. Thank you for listening. I'm Nural, and this is Talking Teens Official.